my man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition, the 18th episode of Tracking the Wolves. This is actually our final episode of the 24-25 athletic season. And what better way to finish it off? We got the boss man in the house. We have Nate Davis, Director of Athletics here at Northern State University. Nate, how are you today? Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me. 18 episodes. I mean, you got to be getting a little. Do you even get tired? Do you ever get tired?
I mean, people were talking after one or two. They're like, I don't think this thing's got the momentum to go the distance. And here we are, 18 episodes later. We're rolling strong. So this is good. This is good.
How dare they question your endurance?
100%. That's what I'm trying to tell them.
There you go.
Well, Nate, I mean, we're sitting here. We're wrapped up. We've officially now, aside from track and field, wrapped up the 24-25 athletic season. So just kind of give us a generalized overview of how you felt like it went and kind of your impressions and some things, some takeaways you had and whatnot now that we're winding it down.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as you said, we're getting close to the end. We've got track and field to go. And, I think overall it's been a quality year for the Wolves. I mean, you could look at any one of our teams and pick out some highlights from their seasons. I'm always really proud of our student athletes and how they compete and they represent their program and the institution and themselves and their families, and I think they do a great job of that. Our coaches work hard, and we always have just tremendous student athletes in competition in the classroom and in the community and all those kinds of things. And so super proud of what they've done, and it's not just the competition stuff. We just finished up with Day of Champions over the weekend and a great representation of what Northern State's about and Wolves athletics. And it was kind of funny. I was joking with Ashley Gower. Last week we had the Thunder Awards, and we have Best Performance or whatever that category is. And I thought, holy cow, we've got, some of these performances that we've had, here down the stretch, like after the voting was done of, have a student athlete win the long and triple jump at the Drake Relays, pretty impressive. Have a softball student athlete walk it off in her final at bat of her career, ultimate, the ultimate walk-off there. So, again, to answer your question, like tremendous year for the Wolves, a lot of great performances, and certainly looking forward to what's ahead.
Yeah, and I think you as the AD, obviously you are responsible for a lot of different things. And so what are kind of your biggest goals and focuses of what you want to see in terms of our programs, whether it be academic success, athletic success, just kind of a tie into the whole thing? Like, how do you kind of work to incorporate all of that, and what are you kind of ultimately looking to see?
Yeah, I think, we talk with our coaches a lot and with our department. You've heard me say this before, success is measured in a lot of different ways, and for me, that's not always about wins and losses. Wins and losses matter, and we want to certainly win more than we lose, and we want to be winning championships and raising trophies and hanging banners and all those kinds of things. But to me, it's more about, are we preparing young people for success when they leave Northern? How are we going about that? What's our process? What does that look like? What opportunities are we giving them to develop and to grow and to be ready for success? And are we helping them learn to deal with adversity? Are we holding them accountable? Are we teaching them to be professional? And that gets measured in lots of different ways. And so you look at, are they showing up to class? Are they respecting professors and academic advisors and being on time for appointments? Are they getting to the weight room or the training room and taking care of their bodies and taking care of their business in that regard? Are they getting to meetings and practices? And so all that stuff is measurable. And if you're doing all those things right, it's probably going to equate to success in competition. So I think for me, as we look ahead of like what are the goals, like I never put a record or a win-loss on any coach, on any program. I think for me it's more about, let's continue to recruit quality student athletes, let's bring them into the program, let's develop them, let's continue to represent ourselves well, let's be good partners in the community, let's be good stewards of the resources that we have. And I think if we do all that stuff, we're going to put out a good product that fans get excited to come and see.
100%. Well, you officially wrapped up your third year in your tenure as athletic director, which is crazy to say because when I was still here as a student athlete, that was your first year. So I've seen it a little bit now from 1 to 3. And so having finished year 3, what's kind of stood out to you about being at Northern State? Because obviously you're well-traveled. You've been around to some big-time programs down in the MIAA and the Division I ranks. But what is it that's kind of stood out to you in your time here at Northern State that makes Northern and the athletic department here at Northern such a special place?
I think, this is an answer that you hear from people a lot, but I think for me it's what what's special about Northern now is what attracted me to Northern 3 years ago, and that there's tremendous people here. There's a lot of investment. There's a lot of pride. Northern has, been developed over the course of time by people saying, this is important to us. This is something that we believe in. And they've invested in that. And it's not, I tell recruits and tell people when they're here on visits, checking things out, colleagues and friends of mine, it's not just like the physical infrastructure that Northern has. I mean, we got awesome facilities. Don't get me wrong, we do. And it's not just in athletics, it's across campus. But you also have to have really quality people to put in those facilities. You got to have a great culture. You got to have people that care. And I think when you're talking about Northern State athletics, like, we have a strong culture. We have people that care, that are committed, that want to be part of what we're doing. They understand it's bigger than themselves. We have coaches that, they're coaching their team and they're working hard to develop that and give them the best opportunity to have success, but they care about other programs too, and they understand the value of having success across the board. And I think the phrase of like high tide raises all ships, I think that's something that we see evident in our programs of everybody's trying to help and pulling for each other. And so I think when you talk about what's attractive to me, what stands out to me, it's that we have good people here and we have people that care, and it's fun to come to work every day, and I enjoy the people that I work with. Now, there's hard days, there's there's challenges, there's issues, there's headaches. Everybody has that stuff, but for me, it's, do you enjoy the people that you do the work with? The work is the work. You might as well enjoy who you do it with.
100%. Couldn't have said it better myself, but speaking of community support investment, we're now a few weeks removed from our third annual Bourbon and Brews Athletic Scholarship Fundraiser, and so I think for the people at home, if you wouldn't mind kind of giving an overview of that event and kind of the purpose that serves, how you feel like it went this year, and kind of how that's grown over the years of doing that.
Well, that kind of started, a couple of years ago. Shortly after I got here, we kind of identified like, hey, we probably need to add another fundraising event, another big event to the list here. And so we kind of sat down and talked through some ideas, and we came up with this concept. And Lacey Heddick just kind of, she took that over and ran with it and has kind of made it her own, and does a tremendous job leading that thing. And there's a lot of people that help with that, but Lacey is certainly the driving force behind that. So I always give a lot of credit to her for growing and developing this thing. But you've been to it, I think, kind of on two fronts
multiple
now.
Different roles.
Yeah. So as a student athlete, and now as an employee, and getting to see it from different angles. And so I think it's an awesome event. Like, you do these athletic fundraisers, and sometimes it's golf tournaments or fishing tournaments or things that are very specific. Bourbons and Brews, if you're watching from home and wondering about, like, if you just like to have a good time and want to come check out Northern and see what it's about and support our student athletes at the same time, this is the event for you. So you got to wait about 50 weeks for the next one, but it's coming again. But it's just a fun event. It's great for people to come out, see the facilities, get to engage with student athletes and coaches in a kind of a behind-the-scenes look, and not in the normal competitive setting, and just kind of get to see their personalities in a different way. And then, it's a chance to generate revenue and raise money for scholarships that helps those student athletes. And then people get to, I think, for the businesses that are a part of it, they get to showcase, whether it's if they're a food truck or a food vendor or whatever it might be, restaurant. We have those stations. We've got drink stations, and we've got the bourbons and different tequilas and craft beers and non-alcoholic drinks, and it's just, I just think it's a really cool, fun event. This year, for the first time, we had great weather, and so I think we had more people than we've ever had. It felt like fewer people because it was so spread out. People were all over the place, but the reviews are so positive, and we hear from people, I'm not really a sports person, but this was awesome. We'll be back. How do we come to a game? Because we want to be a part of this. We see what a special thing you guys have going here. So it's been a really cool event to see grow over the last couple of years.
100%. And then kind of jumping on top of that, you have, as we wind it down here with the school year, we transition to the summer and a couple of big fundraising events. We have our Wolves on the Water fishing tournament, which is set for May 30th and May 31st at New Everett Resort. We had Clayton Randall on the show a few episodes back. He's heading that operation. And then we also have the NSU Golf Classic, which will be on July 25th out at Lee Park. And just kind of for the people at home, talk about the importance of those events and kind of the roles that they play in operating our programs and help kind of set them up for success.
I'd love to do that. Before we do that, So we got Clayton running. Wow, who's running the golf classic, Sam? Let him know.
Your boy over here in the
There
chair is running the golf classic. So I had to give it a little, start putting the feeler out there for the people.
We'll just tee that up for you a little bit there.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I think those things, like you said, they're huge events for us. Like, the need for fundraising is great at Northern. We, when we're raising scholarships and creating opportunities for student athletes, that's what we're trying to do. And the need there, it never goes backwards. It's always growing, and so we're just trying to continue on the foundations that's been built at Northern throughout history, and that's why we do these things, because we're trying to generate that revenue, generate those opportunities for future student athletes. And so Wolves in the Water, like I talked about a second ago, like it's one of it's a pretty specific event. I mean, if you're looking to sample craft beer and drink bourbon, you can maybe do that at Wolves in the Water too, but it's mainly about fishing and having a good time and helping Northern State athletics. And we've got a great group of guys that help with that. Clayton obviously leads it, but there's a tremendous group and a committee there that helps put that thing on. That one for me has been kind of cool. Like when I got the job at Northern, I started learning about that, and I thought, I don't know anything about fishing tournaments. In 3 years, I know a little bit about fishing tournaments, but it's a cool event and a very unique thing to Northern.
100%.
And then we got the golf tournament. And that's one that you've obviously taken over in your time here, and I think, again, got to be part of that as a student athlete in a different capacity. But it's one that, a pretty traditional type of fundraiser, but it's one where we've tried to create some fun twists to it and put some different spin on it and create an event that people want to be a part of and come out and support and understand the value of what they're doing there. And you and I both know this, man. In Aberdeen and in this part of the state, people love to golf a little bit, especially in the summertime when the weather's nice. And so we take advantage of that and put on a fun event.
100%. Well, that's good to hear. And I think a couple of exciting events coming up here in the summertime. And so I think kind of an interesting question, obviously, is in the whole landscape of college athletics, things are changing, and it's a crazy and unprecedented time for everyone. And so for you as the AD, how do you continue to kind of try to make sure that Northern is set up for success, but also kind of doing it your own way and making sure that your things are kind of operating the way that you want to see them operate and that sort of a thing? Yeah,
good question, and it kind of like it's an interesting perspective and an interesting answer. I think, I say this all the time, like college athletics is a weird place.
It's a very weird place at times,
and we're trying to navigate that the best that we can, and that's challenging because it's changing often and quickly. And I think my approach to that has been, let's be as educated as we can be. Let's try to gather. I learned this from my dad a long time ago. Gather all the information you possibly can and wait as long as you can to make decisions. Because things are going to change. And so we've tried to kind of implement that approach of like, let's learn, let's listen, let's see what's happening. And it's sometimes it's great to be first and be a trendsetter. And other times it's okay not to be at the front of the line. And you just have to kind of learn, you have to find the rhythm of that and figure out where do you fit into those circumstances. And so we're trying to do that the best we can. Obviously, at the highest levels, you've got NILs and collectives, and we've got the House settlement that's still kind of hanging out there, yet to be fully ratified and finalized. And that'll have, once that gets done, there will start to be, inevitably, there's trickle down. Once it establishes at the highest level, it starts to make its way down. I don't know quite yet what that impact will look like in Division II. We live in that NIL space a little bit. We have student athletes that are doing those things, and it's great opportunities. I'm 100% supportive of NIL and student athletes being entrepreneurs. I know you had those opportunities when you were a student athlete. I support that. I think it's great. I have concerns with how collectives have evolved and how the pay for play process has grown. And I think I don't know that that's sustainable over the course of time. Again, hasn't hit Division II quite as hard. I'm looking at this as a person in the industry, but not directly involved in Division I. So I think you're really just trying to learn, to understand, to figure out how is this going to impact us? And then you got to figure out how does Northern fit into that? And everybody's different. And so, we do a lot of fundraising, and we're doing a lot of stuff to try and generate athletic scholarships. And so everybody, whether it's Northern State or you name the school at the highest level, there's a finite amount of money available. Mm-hmm. And now it's all a different scale. It's a very different scale for them. A lot more zeros in their numbers. But you just have to figure out what makes sense for your school, what's going to be supported by your community and by your donor base, and are they into that, or does that not move the needle for them? Because if you don't have support to try and do a pay for play collective, and you say this is what we're going to do, and you start selling that to recruits and coaches, and you got nobody to back that up, well, now you're going to be in a big bind. And so we've tried to kind of slow play that a little bit and understand what's happening around us, and then figure out how do we fit into that.
100%. Well, kind of last question here before we let you go. As we transition here into the 25-26 athletic season, what are you kind of most excited about or looking forward to as we kind of make that jump into the fall and do this whole thing all over again, starting with football, soccer, and volleyball?
Absolutely. I think, for me, as we look ahead, it's always exciting to, as we wrap up one year, I think graduation is always kind of a cool moment because you see kind of the culmination, commencement, obviously in the name of it, but just seeing that kind of career conclude for so many student athletes. Obviously their athletic career has kind of ended at that point, but then they kind of wrap up their entire collegiate experience. And so you kind of have like the ending there in one sense, but also knowing that in a few short weeks it's gonna kick up again.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot to look forward to with our programs, and with we'll have some new faces in leading different programs. And I think as we just continue to get established and understand all the different things that we have going on, I just look forward to seeing those things play out. Specifically, it's always fun to get Dakota Bank Stadium rolling again and getting that place popping, and watching our fall sport teams kick off their seasons, because I think that just sets the tone for the entire season. So with football and volleyball and soccer and cross country doing those things, like it's fun to see those student athletes come back with all that energy and excitement, and then we roll into the year. And I think there's a lot of good things in store for that. But before we get completely done, I would say just a shout out to you and a pat on the back to you and Paul Malsa for you guys' effort to bring this thing back and to do this. I know it takes time and it takes energy, and I think it's awesome that you guys are putting a spotlight on athletics and showcasing and bringing coaches and student athletes and staff over here and just talking all things Wolves. So appreciate the effort there.
We appreciate that. Public shout out from the boss. Let's go. We appreciate that. But Nate, we appreciate your time, man. We are very excited as we transition to next fall. A lot of exciting things, exciting teams, new coaches, a lot of optimism as we head into next fall. So thanks again. Congrats on a great year. Until next time, that has been Season 1 official wrap-up of Tracking the Wolves. Go Wolves.
Hello, everyone. As promised, we are on to our next sport, men's basketball. We got the leading scorer, 12.8 points per game. There's a bunch of other stats that I could probably find. 49 steals, team high, whole bunch of other stuff. James Glenn in studio with us. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you having me.
Of course. It was kind of like a whirlwind trying to get everybody, and I know you were like, hey, can I come in now? And I'm like, well, I'm doing whatever.
Making it work.
We are making it work. So we'll go ahead and get into it. Same questions as all the other ones. What has been kind of the favorite game that you've had this year, favorite kind of memories, some of those specific moments that you remember from this past year?
Yeah, man, it was a rough year for the record, but it was a great year for personally, just enjoying the time with my teammates. So personal was probably first home game and walks, getting to play in front of everyone on that court with a big arena, that's kind of a dream come true. So being able to play there and had a decent game, able to get the win. That was definitely one of the heights. And as mentioned just a few minutes ago, honestly, it's being able to do some behind the scenes stuff outside of basketball, like intramurals, stuff like that. Those things are just it's a great time. I mean, speaking of intramurals, we'll go on a little side tangent here. Sure.
You guys won basically the men's basketball team minus a couple other guys won the silver bracket or gold bracket.
Consolation, we were pretty bad.
It doesn't matter. They won their bracket. For volleyball intramurals. Kind of how was that? What was the growth that we saw from the team? What were you guys were Bro Squad, right?
Bro Force, something like that. Yeah.
So kind of walk me through a couple of those.
No, man, it's just fun. It's just fun to get out there. It's not a sport that we're any good at, so just being able to get out there and do something that we're not familiar with is a great time. So just trying to enjoy all that stuff outside of the the norm. It's a great time.
Yeah, those things are always fun, especially like it's completely out of your norm. You're trying to figure out a new sport, a new game, and you're also trying to like be good at it too. Because we're all athletes, we're all competitive. But it's like something that we want to be good at. Okay, the next question I got on this list: if you can go back to the start of the season, knowing what you know now, what is something that you would tell yourself and the team as well to kind of prepare you guys for last season, put yourself like before season started?
There's a lot of stuff like, small details, how to get the team together and all that. And it is really important for the winning aspect of it. But really, on a personal level, just be to soak it all in. It's a great opportunity. Don't look past that. Don't take any day for granted. Looking back now, I would love to be able to get another practice in with my guys. You know what I mean? And like, some of those days you're tired, whatever it might be, you're sore. Cool. That's it. It's still a huge blessing to be able to play the game that I love with some great guys around me. So.
Yeah, and then speaking of that, what is something that like you're kind of going to be looking forward to for next year? Because you're coming back, right? You got one more year.
Yes, sir.
So what's something that you're like really looking forward to for the next season, and something that the viewers can like be excited about?
Honestly, it's just about trying to focus on the building camaraderie early with our guys, so that we can all have the same focus of winning each game that we're out there, winning each day. We're looking to stack days or from starting now. You know what I mean? We're not looking to chill out until the season comes. We're trying to get it going now and start preparing ourselves to win some games. So I'd say overall, it's just things I'm looking forward to is being able to change my focus. I was new here last year. It was my first year. I had a lot to learn, and now some of those basic things I'm able to learn and put more attention and focus into basketball and really enjoying that aspect of it. So.
Yeah, that definitely is a lot of fun. We're going to end off this quick little recap with a fun team question. Now sitting in the audience right over here, the great audience that we got. If you had a sister, which I know you have a big family.
I do.
Who is someone on the team that you're not letting date your sister, and why? And then who is someone that like you're like, hey, okay, I can get behind this.
Sure. The people that I would possibly let
big possibility.
Yeah, would probably be Devin, although he's married, so that wouldn't work. And then Sam Brumfield. Those are a couple of guys that possibly, still don't know if I'd let that go. But some of the guys I wouldn't, I'd go Caleb Mitchell. That's my guy. But Caleb Mitchell, I can't. I don't want to speak on why. None of that. But
we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. That's my guy though.
It's definitely one of those like fun things. That's like it could be your best friend. And you're like, hey,
for
you're
sure,
the best
for sure.
guy, but nah.
Love that dude, but nah.
Well, James, that's all I got for you, man. We'll go ahead and keep it rolling on to the next sports, the next athlete. So best of luck, and I'll
appreciate you, man.
Be excited to watch you next year.
Yes, sir.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are joined here, 197, Aberdeen Smitty's first base coach, Tyson Lien. Tyson, welcome in. Thanks for coming here, man.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course, dude. I feel like I had to. You're one of the wrestlers that I haven't had on like anything, and I was like, all right, this is perfect. Let me get Tyson on.
Sweet.
Little sidebar. I was covering the Smitty's game, and Allison walked up, and she sits down, and I'm like, what are you doing here? And she's like, hey, my kid plays. And it's Tyson walking across the field. So
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Little sidebar, but we'll kind of get into it. We're just doing a quick little recap of this past year.
Right.
Kind of just what are some initial thoughts of looking back on this year? Kind of what are some things went well, some things that you'd like to improve? Kind of just quick overview of the whole season.
As a team, we had the classic fantastic year, tough end. We did some great things throughout the year. We competed really hard. We had one of the better tournaments at Indy this year, which is right up there with the national tournament. Mm-hmm. But we just didn't have our stuff at the region, and unfortunately, that's the only way that you can go try to be an All-American is by getting through the region first. And we do have a tough region, but we can say that all we want. You still got to get out of it. So. A little bit tough there, but we're still super proud of how we competed this year, and we're really building. We're grinding this postseason right now, so we'll be back. We'll be back ready to rock and roll.
Yeah,
it'll be sweet.
That definitely is very promising. Especially got a good roster coming back. Mm-hmm. Looking back, what is maybe like a specific event match for you personally and as a team that was like your favorite to look back on, something that you'll remember from this past year?
Man, I probably got to say the Mankato duel. I mean, it was a tough duel. It was fun. It was electric. There was a bunch of pretty close calls, pretty controversial calls that the fans got pretty rowdy for. My match took like 20 minutes on the clock because they kept going to the head table, and of course I'm getting all fired up or whatever. And so it was pretty fun. And Nathan goes out and he gets the pin at the end of the duel, fires everybody up to send him home. And we always like beating Cato.
Yeah, it's Cato.
Horns down, baby. We always like beating Cato. I don't even care. Yeah. So that one. But they were all sweet. All our home duels were electric. Our fans show up. So, I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite. But yeah.
That's definitely one that you'll remember.
Absolutely.
Looking back, what is maybe the funniest or just the most fun memory that you've had as a team? I'm sure wiffle ball, baseball, and the team room's got to be up there. Kind of what are some of those memories?
Oh man, let's see here. We do pretty well at getting the guys together. We'll go and we'll compete in a little bowling, and the loser goes and jumps in Wiley, or we do stuff like that, or Super Smash Bros. Competitions. Those are super fun because we bracket play all the way through.
Oh yeah, you set up a bracket, got a big white poster board.
Just on a notebook, sheet of paper, all the old way. But those are pretty fun. I would say my favorite memories though are probably the trips that we get to fly. So we did it twice this year. We went to Indy, we flew to Indy, and then we flew to Parkside. And it's just a different vibe. Everybody's flying's cool. I don't care, who you are. So you're there with all your buddies. A couple guys are flying for the first time, and you're in a new city you've never seen before. Of course, we're staying a couple nights in the hotel. So all the stories that go along with that for everybody who kind of gets it, But those would probably be the most fun times to at least talk about. But I mean, you sit in the wrestling room and we've got stories for days about him, her, and everybody, So we do all right.
Yeah.
We do all right. Yeah.
It definitely is one of those sports, especially as a team, that you guys are a very close-knit group.
Oh, yeah.
So it is
Absolutely.
really cool to see. If you could go back to the start of the season, before the season started, knowing what you know now, what is something that you would tell the guys and maybe tell the team as a team preparer, I'm from the future, this is what. Okay. Kind of what are we thinking?
Oh, man, this is an interesting one because at the beginning of this season, we had a lot of, question marks in regards to, the lineups. Mm-hmm. We had Tegan Block trying to figure out if he's redshirting or not. We had a couple freshmen who were thinking about
burning the red shirt.
Giving her the beans and burning the red shirt, So we had a lot of question marks. So I would just go back and tell everybody, dude, we're right there. Just sell out right now. Sell out the whole year. Just trust me. We'll be all right. Just go start going to work. Everything's going to work out. Because, from Christmas onto the backside, we all kind of did just, put our head down and get rolling. Yeah. We started beating some of these teams, beating some of these guys, having big upsets and stuff like that. So if we could have started a little earlier, maybe, the end of the year changes a little bit. So, I mean, we started that process. I mean, we started practicing right after the regional tournament. Guys were in there getting work in. So, we've got that message now. I wish we had it a little sooner, but we'll roll forward with it now, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that you can take into next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of next year, you're coming back, right? Coming
back. One more try.
Yep. One more try. What are we excited about for next year?
Just all of it. Throughout the last 4 years, there's been some crazy ups and downs on our whole team and, personally. And so through the last year, this season especially, I really found just a love for doing what we're doing here and for the sport and the creativity of it and stuff like that. So I'm just excited to come back and, maybe I wish I found it a little sooner, but, I found it now. So I've got one more year to just love it and enjoy it and get everything that I can out of it. And we'll see what we can't do when March rolls around. So
better late than never.
Better late than never.
So
absolutely.
We got one more. We're going to finish off fun team question. It's world-renowned question.
Okay.
If you had a younger sister or older sister, who are on the team are you not letting date your sister? And then who on the team are you going to let? I can get behind this guy maybe dating my sister.
Okay. We actually have quite a bit of pretty good dudes on the team. So there's quite a bit of guys who, if I had a sister, I don't. But if I had a sister, I'd be okay with, Aiden Viox, but he's getting married. Nathan Schauer just got married.
Just got married.
Yeah. Tegan Block, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see with him. He's still on the border, but wouldn't, I got to go with Caden Brower. I don't know. I love the guy to death. I love him to death, but if I had a sister, she wouldn't ever know who he is. I swear on it. No,
You're not even telling him you have a sister.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Well, Tyson, appreciate you coming on, man. We'll get it rolling and keep on going with this year in review. So thanks for spending time.
For
Get back
sure.
next year, brother.
Appreciate you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are now joined Aberdeen's finest, Morgan Fiedler, Roncalli graduate. You're Aberdeen born and raised. How does it feel to be in the studio again?
Feels good. This is my third time this year.
Is.
I feel like that's got to be a record.
Definitely is. This is actually, it's Elena's fault. I texted Elena first because I haven't had her on, and she didn't answer. Did she not want to answer?
No, she was like, I didn't see it until last minute. And I was like, well, I already said yes.
Yeah, literally, because I was like, all right, I'm literally scrambling around. I needed to find one person from every sport, and I'm like, you know what, Morgan will always be down. I can ask her if I need to.
Yes, I will, yeah.
Perfect. Well, anyways, let's go and get into it. Little year in review, recap. What was something like a favorite game, favorite memory from this past year that when you're looking back, you can tell your kids from years ago, and they'll be like, I remember this game specifically.
Yeah, 100% the I hate winter games this year.
I feel like that's always.
I feel like I hate winter, but I feel like it's different. It was different from years past. It's always fun. Last year, I got to hit the buzzer beater at I hate winter, but this year, at the end of the game, I think it's because we were the second game. All of the students were there, and we just got to celebrate, and they threw us in the hot tubs. It was just so fun. And honestly, I would say maybe one other game would be probably the first game of the NSIC tournament, because me being at Northern, I've never had the opportunity to win a game at the conference tournament. So just slapping our names on the bracket was so cool.
I have that clip on the podcast where you were like, as corny as it sounds, I want to slap the name on the bracket. Able to do that this year.
Yeah, we got to do it, which is a blessing, definitely.
It definitely is. On the flip side, or not necessarily on the flip side of it, but what was the funniest thing that maybe happened this year, or the most memorable thing that happened? Maybe it doesn't have to necessarily be on the court or at practice, but as a team, something that you kind of remember from just being funny in general.
Yeah, I would say every bus trip is just so much fun. I would say the funniest thing is when we were crossing the border over Canada, because we flew out of Canada to go to Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah, so we had to cross the border and go through border control. And I don't know, just that experience was so funny because we were all like, are we going to get through? Are we going to get through? What are they going to find on our bus? And
As if there's anything to find.
Yeah, nothing. There was nothing to find. But I would say that was just the most fun moment. Just traveling to Hawaii. It was a long, long trip, but it was a lot of fun.
Speaking of, let's talk a little bit more about that Hawaii trip.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you guys played much basketball or more so went to the beach
Yeah,
there,
right?
but
So many people think that.
but kind of how was that trip, being able to be on that long plane ride, that long trip to Canada and then to Hawaii with the girls? Kind of how was that as a whole?
Yeah, so this is funny. I was actually sitting next to my coach, Katie Burke, on the plane, and she said if I could sit next to anybody else, I would. I never want to have to sit next to Morgan again because we were just moving around the entire time. Because that's how long the flight was.
Yeah,
I was just getting so antsy and just getting ADHD, and I was like, I need to get off of this plane. But once we got there, you couldn't have asked for better weather. We were there to play basketball, but we got to lay on the beach, and the water was clear, and it felt like vacation. But playing basketball was still a lot of fun. It was a different experience because we practiced at a high school there or a middle school there, and it felt like the movies because all the lockers are outdoors.
Yeah.
It was so cool. Is that what it's like in California?
Yep.
Yeah, that's so cool. I've never seen that. Only indoor schools here in South Dakota. But just being in Hawaii, everything was outside, and it was so cool.
Yeah, and that was a huge culture shock when I came here, was indoor high schools. So yeah, I only saw indoor high schools in movies.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was like, oh, that's so weird. You're telling me you don't walk outside and go to your next class, you stay in a hall.
That's so cool.
So, anyways, we'll keep it moving. We'll stop it with all this climate stuff and all that stuff. If you go back to the start of the season, knowing what you know now, what was something that you would tell the girls and tell the team to kind of prepare you guys for the upcoming year?
Yeah. I think if I could go back in time, I would have just told everybody to be confident and play loose. I think that's definitely some confidence held us back this year. Not that I'm mad about the way it ended. I think that we definitely could have made it farther, but that's just sports sometimes.
There's always something to do.
Yeah, you're unlucky. It was already written, so I can't really change it. But I would say just being confident and playing loose and just being who you are and not holding anything back. I think that's what I would tell my girls because we had such a talented team this year, and I'm so proud of everybody. I wouldn't have changed it, but yeah, just telling everybody to play loose.
It's always nice to win that last game of the year and to keep
Yeah.
keep it rolling. Like
Yeah.
there's every athlete can say that at
Yeah.
the end of every season, every career. But speaking of, you got 1 more year or 2 more years?
1 more year.
1 more year,
Yes.
final ride.
Yes.
How are you feeling going into next year, and what's something that you're
Yeah.
excited about that you can share with the fans?
Yeah. I'm really excited for next year. If you take a look at our team, it's going to look a lot different. Probably not what a lot of people expected, but I think that the girls that we have are going to come out and kind of prove everybody wrong in a way. I definitely think our playing style will change up a little bit. We have smaller girls, lots of guards, so definitely will be a quicker pace, scrappy on defense, maybe throw in some press in there, which I'm excited about because that's
to the
the
Ron
way.
Colley
Yeah,
days.
that's the way that I love to play. So being able to like have all those girls do it because they all like to play that way, and I think we're all just really like honed in on this next season. And Coach PK told us that we have to come back in the best shape of our lives. So I think all of us girls are just really set on that and ready to work.
Yeah, that definitely is exciting. It's always fun to watch a full court press when I cover Ron Colley games.
Yeah.
A full court press the entire game. I'm like, dude, that's fun to watch.
Yes, it is. It's so fun.
So a little bit going back to your roots a little bit to be able to
Yes.
full court press, play some
Yes,
defense.
for my last year, I'm excited because that's what I did my freshman year. Like I would just get up in full court, guard whoever it was, even if it was by myself. So I'm excited that I get to have everybody else do it because maybe we'll get some more steals.
That's always fun. That's always a
Yeah.
huge momentum changer.
Yeah.
Okay, fun team question. If you could choose anyone on the team to do your hair pre-game, like to get you ready for the game,
Yeah.
who are you letting do your hair? And then who are you not? Because they're like, they got 2 left hands. They're not going to be able to do it.
Kennedy Decker is for sure doing my hair. She's like the team braider. She's so good at it. Or Lucy Moore. She's pretty good too. But I don't think I'd let Carly Kuiper touch my hair. Love her, but she's not doing my hair.
I should keep a tally of how many times someone says, I really love that person, really love her, really love him, but I'm not letting them blah, blah, blah. There's so many.
That's so funny. Hey, I got thrown under the bus with being late.
That is true.
The question to being late to
From
the bus.
Bragg,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And then you threw Bragg under the bus, and then we had to have it settled. So
Yeah. Yes.
it's all fun and games.
It
so.
is, yeah.
All right,
No
well,
hate.
no hate. This is all love, promise. There's no
Yes.
bad feud. This is what we're all about here.
Yes.
But Morgan, thank you for coming in. Excited to see you back for 1 more year. And best of luck this year and have a good summer.
Thank you for having me.
Perfect. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are now joined with the swimmer of the year, we'll say, I guess.
Swammer.
Swammer, yeah. Haley Osborne. Haley, welcome in, and I'll have to share a story, but before we get into that, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. I have nothing today. I didn't have any finals at all.
Really?
Yeah, I love my stats class because it's Stacy Trentham, so all of her finals are optional. So if you do well,
Oh,
in
if
the
you do
beginning,
well, you
yeah,
don't have to.
Yeah,
That's nice. I would have liked one of those.
it's been a nice week.
That is pretty nice. Dr. Long, if you listen to that, I would have liked that. It's
yeah,
okay. Because I literally just took my stats final today from 12 to 2.
jeez.
So hopefully I did good. We'll find out. I always share this story, especially when you were on the podcast. What was it called? Howell Days.
Yes.
Our senior year, we were both on the same flight to get here for some reason because there's only like 2 flights coming to Aberdeen, and it was me and my 2 other teammates from my high school. And one of the questions was, "All right, who's traveled the farthest?" And someone's like, "Oh, the city." Someone's like, "Oh, this," and you're like so proud. Raise your hand. And you're like, "Boise, Idaho," and then I was like, Los Angeles, California. And you're like, he's got you beat. Sorry. So.
And I knew, because I knew who you were, because I overheard you guys talk about being
Right.
from California. So when you had raised your hand, I was like,
You're like, damn it. You're like, shut up. Don't say
Yeah.
anything.
I want to win.
I think you still got something, right?
I think I got like the banner, like the triangle banner. I don't know what they're called.
What are those called? That's going to bug me.
Yeah, the
They're
university
literally
banner. Yeah, right there.
Right there.
Yeah, that thing.
In the studio. We got a fancy studio here. All right. Anyways, we'll get in. Yeah, with all the fans in the audience. We actually do have an audience back there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. But we'll kind of talk about this quick little preview of the season and how it went. So what is one of the events, it could be personal or as a whole team, that was like kind of like your favorite event to compete in from this past year?
I think I'm gonna say a meet. One of our
Meet, I guess.
Yeah, one of my favorite meets, and it's
I don't have that. I have game/event.
yeah.
Meet.
One of my favorite meets, and I think some of the other girls on the team would agree with this, was our mid-season meet. It was in it was at CSP, and it was our first time traveling that far. I guess it's only 5 hours, but that was like our first time traveling that far, and it was at their pool. Usually Augustana hosts it in Sioux Falls, but that Midco pool was under construction, so we ended up going to CSP. They hosted it, and that was really fun. I know some girls got some personal bests. We had to cry in order to convince our coaches to get crumble cookie, which was totally worth it.
If you got some tears to be shed, some tears will be shed.
Yeah, so we got some good photos of that. That was pretty funny. And then for me personally, I made finals and everything. I know some other girls made finals. I won a personal best in my 100 backstroke, which I haven't done since pre-COVID. I think it's been like since 2019.
So a huge accomplishment for you there.
Yeah, it was really nice, and especially I don't swim backstroke at a meet, and I don't really practice it regularly, so it was really nice. It was so much fun. That meet was fun.
That is a lot of fun. That's awesome.
3 long days, but it was fun.
Yeah, those are the best. Is when like that's something that like in the moment you're like, dude, this sucks, but after it's like, all right, like that was I can kind of get behind it. But
we got crumble.
Yeah, we did get crumble. Speaking of those crumble memories, are any more of those, or like anything specifically that pops out from this past year, like the funniest thing that you guys have had happen as a team, or like it could be in practice in a meet, or it could be outside, like as you guys are like hanging out outside of practice and stuff. What is something that you kind of remember?
The funniest thing. Oh, okay. So there is this meet that was in Bismarck with you, Mary.
Okay.
That meet is not normally on the calendar. It's in December. We normally don't have meets after mid-season, which is mid-November. But we had this random meet in December, and everybody's like super exhausted, tired, ready to go home because it's, it's like 2 weeks before finals. And one of the events that was hosted at the meet was called a t-shirt relay. Basically, you have 4 girls, obviously on a relay. You have this one t-shirt. You had to swim a 50 in that t-shirt, and you had to get out and like lock arms, and then like your 2 teammates will like take the t-shirt off and put it onto the next person, and they dive in. Well, one of the girls, Sydney, shout out Sydney, it's her birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Sydney.
I don't know what leg she was. She wasn't on my relay. I just saw it on video, but it was so funny. They had got the t-shirt on her kind of sideways. She couldn't really see. She ran, slipped, and like catapulted into the water, like sideways, like all limbs out, like a child. It was so funny.
That's awesome.
And it
we
was,
need to see video.
it was on video, mid-relay. Luckily, it was still a legal start. Like, she didn't get false started for going in feet first or anything like that. But that was so funny. And none of us really, on my relay, knew what was going on until we came back after the meet, and everybody's just like laughing, like, what is going on? And so somebody on our team showed us the video of it that was caught on the live stream and on their phone, and it was so funny. I'm sure it's posted on our Instagram.
I was gonna say, we need to find this video. We need to pull it up, and we'll make sure everybody sees it.
Yeah,
we'll figure out where it's
I'll
at.
get the video. It was so funny.
Perfect. Okay. While you're getting that video, and we'll think of that, audience, if you guys can find that video, that'd be cool.
Contact Sydney Moscross. Or Mia. Mia's first to know, and she might have it.
Yeah, she might. If you could go back to the start of the season, knowing what you know now, what is something that you would tell the girls and tell the team to kind of prepare them for the upcoming season?
The fair is going to be hard. It's going to be long. We set up the Brown County Fair.
Yep. I think,
each year.
Yeah, that's
7 days, 12-hour days, or 6 days, I guess, going into Sunday after the final concert. It's going to be hard. But it's also the time where the team becomes the closest, I think, because literally we're all strangers.
Right.
Besides those that are coming back.
Yeah,
those that are returning. So we're all strangers, and we're stuck in mud for 6 days. Setting up.
Yep.
And it's so much fun. Yeah, yes, it's a lot of work. And I don't know what the pay is, but I know it's like not great, but it's funding for the team, for our scholarships, for our traveling and stuff like that. But it's honestly, I think the whole point of it is it's just as like a team bonding. It's our first and biggest team bonding event, I guess, of the year. And it's the very first thing. Even before practices start, before classes start, before some of the girls even move in. It's really fun. I know from experience, it sucks.
Yeah.
But I think those little memories, like of everybody playing cards in between shows, getting to meet these like stars that just come in out of and we get to like go up on stage and dance with them. It's so much fun with that aspect. And then when we have like lay low hours, we can go enjoy the fair, go in and play games and go on the roller coasters. So I guess that's my piece of advice is like start out the season really good, even though it's a very hardworking moment of the season. But it's just there to have fun, team bonding.
Right.
It works out in the end.
Exactly. It's one of those things where it's, what's that like saying where it's like, not very many things brings people closer than a hatred of something.
Literally,
it's one of those things where it's like...
Yes, we all bond over the hate of doing the fair.
Sorry, Brown County Fair, they love it, actually.
Yeah. It's fun. It's just...
it's tough work.
rather not do it.
It's tough work. It for sure
Yes.
is. Then, yeah. Okay, since your swimming career is done, sorry to bring that up. What is something that you're going to kind of miss about competing at Northern and competing with the girls and being able to like look back on your years and something that you like reminisce about?
I think, well, I'm not going to miss the anxiety that you get right behind the block. That is, I remember
that
saying.
One's
I said something, I don't know who I said it to, but I said to somebody, I was like, you know, I love swimming, but I hate this like feeling of wanting to throw up right before the race. Like, I'd rather just enjoy the race.
Right.
I think I'm just gonna miss racing because I'm probably not gonna be any close to how fast I was if I get back into swimming. And so I think I'm just gonna miss that competitive drive with the teammates that I love, the teammates from the other teams that I love.
Right.
I think I'm just gonna miss racing against those girls because, you know, we're at the best of the best and that most people will probably ever be at. And it's just like, it's nice to know that other people know exactly what you're feeling. Yes, she might be your competitor, but
she gets it.
Yeah, you shake hands before and after the race. You hug each other when one gets a win and when the other one gets a win. It's really nice, and I'm going to miss that.
Yeah, that is. We'll finish it off with the fun team question. We have 3 superlative questions, okay?
Oh, okay.
We got to lock in. This is this one, I like this one because we think we have early mornings as football players. We're walking in for like 6 a.m. lift or whatever it may be, and swim is full go. Like full go in the swimming pool, and we're like, dude, what time do you guys get here? Because we're like, this doesn't make sense. Like we thought we were the first ones up. We thought we were the ones waking up Aberdeen, and it kind of like hurts our souls a little bit. But anyways, who is someone on the team that is most likely to oversleep and miss their alarm and completely miss practice?
Sydney.
All right.
I think she's done it before.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of, those 5 a.m. wake-up calls are it's kind of tough sometimes.
Yeah, and it's so true. When the alarm doesn't go off, it doesn't go off. It's happened to me.
Yeah.
I swear I set the alarm at the right time, but it didn't go off.
For some reason, it's set for p.m.
But yeah, it happens to everybody.
It literally does. It totally happens. Okay. Who is most likely to have the best snacks on a trip? You got to go to someone on the bus and trust them to pick out the best snacks. Who is it?
Okay, I'm going to say this girl because when I swam with her, she always had the best snacks. She didn't compete with us this semester. She focused on school. But I'm going to say Lily Grebner.
Oh.
Her mom, Mama G, love her, packed Lily with like coolers of the best snacks. Not even the off-brand stuff, like the good stuff.
The legit.
Yeah, she had like Lily packed with fruit, all of the really good snacks, crackers, sandwiches. And I was like,
Yeah.
I wish.
You're like, dude, that's like snack bar material. Like, I need to go.
Yeah, she's like pulling out Rice Krispie treats, grapes, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries. She's packing out goldfish, and we're just like, can I have some?
You're like,
She's like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're like, I'll trade you this for.
Yeah, I'll trade you my off-brand fruit snacks for yours.
All right, last one is most likely to be famous on the team. For whatever reason, just most likely to be famous.
Okay, I have to go with Mia.
Okay.
Because she's from London, so she's most likely to marry a royal.
Makes sense.
I think whenever the team is asked this question, we always say her because she is from London.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, I could totally see it
Marrying
too.
into a royal family and, kind of getting a foot in that way. And
Yeah.
next thing you know, you'll turn on the news and Mia's just having a royal wedding or whatever
Yeah.
it may be.
Or it's just the fact that she's going to, I believe, getting her master's in psychology. So she's going to be rich.
She's going to have a lot of...
Yes. She's doing well for herself.
Well, anyways, Haley, great career here at Northern. We came in together, and it's cool to see you kind of see that come into fruition and see that come into play. And best luck with everything else, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We got Daniel, Craig, Britt, QB1 in studio with us. If you haven't seen the shirts, we made shirts. They're pretty great. What do you think of the shirts?
Shirts are hilarious.
Anyways, Britt, thanks for coming in, man. Appreciate it. How you doing today? How are finals going? What's going on with all that?
Finals are going good. They are long. They're
Yeah.
hard. Studying's hard.
This is probably not a good idea, bringing in Britt. Probably should have brought in someone else, someone who can actually hold a conversation, but, that's fine. We're going to get into it. Okay. From this past year, what is, like, the funnest game that you kind of remember, your favorite game that you remember, and kind of, like, why is that the one that you'll remember from this past year?
Bemidji, because I almost sold it, and then the defense saved it.
So who do we got to thank on the defense for that?
Everybody. Everybody.
So I know you said you almost sold it, but like kind of walk us through that game a little bit. It was obviously 14-6, 14-7 going into that final drive, and kind of walk me through some of the highs of that game.
The highs of the game was we had energy the whole game. And, I mean, offense had its ups and downs, and defense had its ups the whole game. I mean, so I would say that towards the end of the game when we were going into that final drive, the plan was obviously to just get the first down. And then, I don't know, a little miscommunication between me and the tight end, and bad play happened.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
But then they go down.
And then they go down. Defense
They
steps
score.
up.
And then Stadium was
rocking.
freaking rocking. Keep packing out the bank. We love it. If we can look back on this past year, what is like the funniest or like the most fun memory that you kind of have of this team? It could be off the field, it could be on the field, it could be fall camp, it could be anything like that. Just kind of something that was like a funny story. Someone says like, "Hey, give me a funny story from the football team." What are you telling them?
That little slideshow that we made at the beginning of the year at the end of fall camp.
I did.
Yeah,
I made it.
that,
Me
yeah.
and Block.
Yep, that was probably
And
one of
slow.
the funniest things. That and the Halloween costumes we got to wear to practice.
That was, yeah. So, quick little, I'll give some depth about this slideshow. Every year for we have a talent show, and someone makes a lookalikes slideshow. And so I took the task of doing that this year. And there's a infamous picture of Britt that we use for everything. And we used that picture, and we said that you look like Ronnie Bass, Sunshine from Remember the Titans, and Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Spicoli, yeah. Spicoli was the one that I got.
Yeah?
It's
All I
it's something
need
I've heard my whole life. All right?
are some cool waves, a nice buzz, and I'm all right. Yeah. So, do you even know? Have you ever seen
I've
the
never
movie?
seen the movie, no.
All right, that's next on the movie list. Okay, looking back on the year, knowing what you know now, if you can go back and tell a team something, what would you tell them? Knowing what you know now, like kind of like you're like blast from the past kind of thing.
Oh, what Coach Schmidt already kind of like preaches to us. It's
Right.
like, why go back? I mean, for what? We all knew how 0-4 felt, and that was terrible. And it's like, once we got on that roll, he's probably right. We would have beat any team that like stepped in front of us. Shot ourselves in the foot a little bit against Mankato, but we'll get them back.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
We don't play them.
So I mean, that's probably what I would say is literally that. Remember that feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, for the guys that are here, and those are mostly the guys that are going to be playing. So.
Yep. And speaking of like going into next year, remembering this feeling from last year, what is something that you're kind of excited about for this upcoming year? Something that you can share with the fans and.
How many people we have coming back? How many returners we have?
Yeah.
I mean, we've brought in some cool pieces, some guys that are going to fit in just nice. But the amount of dudes that we have coming back. I mean, we had a good team last year. Obviously, we started slow, but we're going to be damn fine this year.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a really exciting year. We're bringing in a lot of, like you said, we brought in some good key pieces to kind of fill those holes. And, I mean, you're returning, basically all of our receivers are returning. Block and Hank are both returning in the backfield.
The whole offense, we just had to fill one or two pieces on the O-line. And, I mean,
yeah,
the offense is returning. I mean, defense, we lost some guys, but, I mean, you fill those holes with some transfers that came in. Like, we have Lorenzo Jones that came in for corner. We got Keegan Mountain back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those
That's
two
huge.
dudes are studs. But, yeah.
Yeah, definitely a very exciting year. Okay, we're going to finish off with the fun team question. Who is someone on the team that you're not letting date, if you had a sister, someone that you're not letting date your sister and why? And then someone that you would allow them to date your sister.
Colin Fritton is not dating my sister, and I think everyone on the team would say that.
Yeah.
And then I would let you date my sister. I know you have a girlfriend, but I'd let
appreciate
you,
it.
and I also said Isaac 90.
I-90.
Isaac 90.
Isaac.
I-90.
You live I-90. I-90.
Oh, he's just a sweetheart.
He is a sweetheart.
Sweetheart, yeah.
And you obviously know him because you're a quarterback, but I appreciate it. You know, they kind of...
I said you. I know you have a girlfriend, although she might not like this. But.
Yeah, no, I think it's a testament of who I am.
It is.
I think it's so Mira, I promise I'm not dating Britt's sister. It's actually our 3.5 year today, so fun.
Is it?
Yeah, let's go. So
My sister's 13.
that didn't need to be said. Yeah, definitely we're not letting Britt. Okay. Well, anyways, Britt, I'm excited. One more year together on the field.
Yeah.
You can finally finish it out. We're gonna hit one of these. Oh, anyways, Britt, we'll let you get going so that we can go eat, and best of luck.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Promise you, we're going to keep this thing rolling. We're going to get it every sport in. Right now, we got women's softball player Avery Eagle ended your career on a walk-off home run. We'll talk a little bit about that, too. But thanks for coming in, and thanks for being a part of this.
Yeah, no problem.
It was kind of funny because I texted, because I was trying to think of people to text that I haven't had on the podcast or the TV show. So I texted Brooke, because she was a senior, and I was like, I should probably get her on. Can't do it. Grace, can't do it. Maddie, I don't think she ever answered me back. Ani can't do it. And I'm like, well, all right. Well, I texted you at like 3:20.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can you come in right now? You're like, yeah, I'll be there in 10. I was like, perfect.
Ani
So,
did text the group chat. I'm just a bad responder.
that's fine. Group chats. No one ever responds in group chats
Yeah.
anyways. But we'll get into it. Looking back on this year, what is maybe like your favorite game that happened this year that you'll always remember? I'm assuming it's got to be maybe the Bemidji, but are there any other ones too?
Yeah. I would say probably like our last games of our senior weekend. Obviously, that last game we came back and won. But also when we beat Mankato at the beginning of the year was probably one of my favorite games of the season because they're number 2 in conference. We almost beat Augie too, but
Yeah. There's a lot of close games that you guys had this year that like could have gone either way, and that's
Yeah.
kind of how baseball and softball rolls. But looking back, maybe like what is like the funniest or the most fun memory that you have as a team? Because I know softball is a really close-knit group, so it could be on the field or off the field, like team bonding stuff, anything that like pops out as like a funny story that you'd like to share.
yeah. Wow, that's hard. There's a lot of fun stuff that happens. I would say like at the beginning of the year we have like this like whole team dinner that the seniors usually host, and that's usually fun because you get to know everyone and stuff like that. And even at like practices, we play games where it's like team bonding type stuff. So like at the end of the games, at the end of practice, we'll sit there and play like, I don't even remember the name of it. It's like where you have to like, you have a partner and you have to reenact it, and you do like the golden arches.
Are like charades? Like
Kind of, but like you have like, you're like in 2 separate lines and your partner's in one line, you're in one line. You walk back and forth and then they say like golden arches, you have to run, find your partner, act it out.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say I
I
don't
don't
know that
remember.
one.
I was always terrible at it, but it was fun. It's fun.
Those are always like the fun little games that you can remember looking back. Knowing what you know now, if you go back to the start of the season and tell the team something, what would you tell them and why?
Just to like stay in your shoes and be ready for anything, because obviously like we did have kind of a hard year. We have a brand new coach. Most of our team was freshmen and sophomores, so there's a lot of young people who played. So I would just say telling us ourselves to trust each other. We did that a lot more at the end of the season, but like spring break and stuff, it's a long spring break. So obviously you get tired and all that stuff. So just staying calm in each other's presence and being there for each other.
Yeah, that definitely is something that is very huge. Okay. Now that your softball career is done, we were just joking around about Paul was like, hey, like you should have grabbed your glove. You're like, oh, it's in retirement. Like, now that your softball career is done, what is something that you're going to kind of miss about playing softball at Northern or just playing softball in general?
Yeah. Friends-wise, I'm just going to miss like being around my friends and my teammates every day because obviously even if you're having bad days, it brings you out of that rut and gets you through the day. Outside-wise, like future-wise, just having that schedule and keeping me busy all the time because now all I have to look forward to is, more school work and it's not, I get to go to practice and PT and look at this time. So just that schedule, I would say.
Yeah. Fun team question. I'm thinking of this on the spot right now. Okay. If you had to choose another position to play on the field, what would you play and why?
Ooh, this is hard because I played outfield for a little bit.
Right.
Obviously first base. Honestly, I'd pitch.
To get you on the mountains, get you going?
Yeah, I used to pitch back in the day.
Oh, back in the day?
Yeah.
Back when you played softball?
Back in like senior year of high school. My whole childhood, but I would say probably pitching.
Hey, I could see it. Okay, now you had to pick someone on the team to play another position. Like maybe they mess around, maybe it's Rux messing around in the outfield or whatever it may be. But who's someone on the team that you would trust in a game to play a different position that they normally don't play?
I was jokingly gonna say Abby in right field, but like I feel like she could do a good job.
I feel like she's got an arm on her, obviously. She can hose.
Yeah. Then her Achilles would start hurting or something, and it would be like, oh no, we're down another pitcher, down to one. I'm trying to think. Honestly, Eden can play anywhere, and she can go from middle infield to outfield to wherever.
Oh, yeah, so she'll be fine to figure it out. Well, Avery, thanks for coming in. We'll keep it rolling and get on to the next sport, but best of luck. Are you going to nursing school now?
Yep, I just got accepted into the University of Iowa, so.
Bang, let's go. Wolves
Thank
on to
God.
big things. Let's go, Wolves. Anyways, best of luck at Iowa nursing school and with the rest of your career.
Thanks. Good handshake.
Great handshake. Hello, everyone. We are here joined with one of my good friends, one of the homies, one of the vatos, one of the fools.
Homies.
Come on.
An OG, if you will.
OG, legitimately. Eleanor and I lived in the same dorms in Wolves our freshman year. Our friend groups always hung out. It was always a clash of the soccer girls and the football boys. It's kind of how it was.
I was telling them we met May of 2021.
At holidays, the same story.
Yep, and we went around in a circle and said where we were from, and I remember you guys said California, and I was like, they are gonna die here.
Yeah.
They are not gonna survive. But, and I said I was from Minnesota, and you and Justin and Esteban and Drew came up to me, and you were like, so how bad is the snow?
Yeah.
Like, for real?
For real.
And I was like, be ready. Be prepared. It's not gonna go well. But
yeah, and that first winter was pretty tough.
It wasn't too bad. I think sophomore year was worse. That's when our entire spring was canceled, and we were all like stuck inside the dorms. But somehow Esteban's little Toyota.
His Tacoma.
That's what it's called.
It's Drew's Pilot. Drew's Honda Pilot too.
Oh, that's right.
Oh my gosh, I'll have to send this to these guys. I'll see Drew in a couple weeks. So
exactly.
Anyways, we'll go ahead and get on with this. We'll stop reminiscing about our freshman days, and we'll talk about some real old people stuff now. Since you finished your career, we'll kind of talk a little bit, reminiscing on your past 4 years, but kind of what was like a favorite game that you had from this past year specifically that you'll always remember?
I think this past year specifically, the first time we played Duluth was either the end of August or early September. It was our very first, it was our non-conference game, but we played Duluth. When was it?
September 15th.
Oh, so it was like past September. But anyways, we played Duluth at home, and we knew we were playing them twice because the same thing happened the year before. And every year we had either tied or lost to Duluth, which was honestly really aggravating because I have a lot of friends on that team from high school.
Yeah. So they're
some I like, some I don't like. But every time we tied them, we just always really stooped to their level, which was really disappointing. But anyways, this game in September, we just came off some pretty bad losses. We lost like 3-0 against Drury and Bemidji.
Yep.
We tied
Missouri Western.
Yep.
Lost to Emporia 3-1.
Yeah, so we're coming off some pretty bad games. I think just a little shaken up a bit, not what we expected after those. But going into Duluth, it was my very first start, my very first full 90, and I was really pumped. We also wore our brand new jerseys that game, so I think that helped.
That helped.
But anyways, I remember the first 20 minutes were super intense. One of the girls from my high school actually like checked me on a corner kick, and she got a card. So that's
kind of cool.
Yeah, I was kind of like, whoa, chill out.
Hey,
But I literally remember going to the locker room just absolutely fired up, and I literally told the team, I was like, we are not freaking losing, or we're not tying. I'm sick and tired of tying to Duluth. I was like, happens time and time again. Like, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna score some goals. Like, let's get it done. Like, game over. And we went out and we scored 2 banger goals in the second half, and I was absolutely thrilled. Like, you would have thought we just won the World Cup. I was so pumped, and that really propelled us into conference. We started going up a little bit, and then we went to Minot and CSP. Tough loss against Winona, but I think that first game just really got us out of the rut of not doing too hot in the start.
Yeah, and that's definitely key, especially when you can start hot. Talking about the team as a whole, and it doesn't have to necessarily be on the field, it could be off the field, because I know you and the soccer girls are all super tight. What is kind of like the funniest story that you have, or maybe like just like the most fun memory that you have as a team?
There's one thing that Bob does every preseason that was always really fun, and we do a scavenger hunt. So we have equipment groups throughout the season that usually it's like just a few girls from every class that have to do equipment different weeks. But you're in your equipment groups, and Bob gives us a list of, like, I don't know, like, it looks like a poem, honestly. And they're, like, so weird. It would be like, this is where I store your H2O throughout the year, and it's like the water tower. And you're driving around town, and you have to take a selfie with your group. And it's so funny because you'll just see, like, 10 cars sprinting to Wiley. And this past year, oh my gosh, one of the clues was hinting that we had to take a selfie with buffalo, with like bison, because it was a joke. It was like, what does a buffalo call his son? Bison. So funny. But the bison in Wiley Park is like a half mile or so inside the park. So we had to park and run to get the selfie with the bison. And I remember I was wearing Birkenstocks, and I absolutely rolled my ankle in the grass.
What'd you expect?
And it was so bad. And I remember we had games that weekend, and I went to Janelle, and I was like, Janelle, I rolled my ankle. Like, it was pretty swollen. And she was like, what even happened? And I was like, Janelle, the scavenger hunt just got way too intense. Yeah, but it was so funny because, like, we would send the selfies to either our assistant at the time or to Kenna, our GA, for her to, like, keep track of points of, like, who got there first.
Right.
But then Kenna would go around and then post the pictures on Instagram. And we are, like, beet red. This is, like, post-captain's practice. Tan lines are just not good. And, yeah, I think that's one of the favorite memories kind of outside of games and practices.
Right. That's always fun to hear every team's, like, specific stories.
Oh, my gosh. It's too good.
Really are. If you go back to the beginning of the season, knowing what you know now, what is something that you would tell the girls?
Tell the girls?
Yeah, like tell the team, like you're leading the team meeting. I'm from the future. You obviously don't want to give anything away, but what is something that you would tell them to kind of prepare them for the upcoming season?
Don't take any game for granted. I think one thing I think us as seniors, we went into this year knowing that obviously it's our last year and we want to go out with a bang. But I think as a freshman, you just kind of take it for granted a little bit, just being so new. You're just like, oh, I got time, whatever. When I came in my freshman year, all the seniors and upperclassmen, and really all the girls really had just come off of not playing at all during COVID. And so they really ingrained in us, like, you do not know what it's like to have your season or even just a single game taken away from you. So just live up to every moment and play your hardest as you can be.
Yeah, that definitely is a good message, and especially for incoming freshmen for next year.
Yeah.
Since you won't be there.
Nope.
I know. It's going to be weird.
I know.
It's going to be really
I know, and you're staying.
I am staying. One more semester, and then I'm out of here.
I know. That's not even like that long. I feel like the fall semester goes by so quick.
It really does, and especially like I picked up a couple classes just to make 12. But anyways, what is something that you're really going to miss about playing soccer at Northern?
I feel like, honestly, like it sounds super like boring, but like the routine, I feel like something that was really nice is like literally just like having your like schedule just like handed to you. Like you knew when you were gonna lift, you knew like, hey, I'm gonna eat lunch at this time, and then I have class, and then we're traveling. And it was really nice just like literally seeing your entire like 4 months just like kind of handed to you. You just kind of knew when games were, when practices were. I feel like now that I have like kind of free time, kind of not, I'm just golfing. Like I'm just golfing. I'm able to just kind of like go out with friends. That's definitely really weird. Or just kind of plan for the future and be ready for graduation.
Speaking of going out with friends, I called you last night to see if you wanted to do this. And you're like, oh, I'm on a study break at Loggers with Josh and Tanner. And I'm like, oh yeah, real big study break, huh? Real big study break.
Well, because Josh and Tanner got done, they were like, oh, like our finals were early in the week, like we gotta celebrate. And I'm like, guys, I still got one more tomorrow. I can't. But then they're like, oh, just one at Loggers, just one. And I was like, okay, whatever. We showed up. We were like the only people in there. That's so embarrassing. If you're the only group in Loggers, go home. Like that.
But that was you guys.
Yeah, that was us. Yeah. I mean, we were just watching who was playing. Tanner wanted to watch the Tigers game. They were playing the Rockies. The Cubs lost per usual, so Josh wasn't too happy. But.
Yeah. Well, Josh's Chicago teams are not very good.
Yeah, no.
Anyways, a fun team question we're going to end it off with, because I know soccer girls always have dance parties, and they're big music people around me. Especially when we would hang out, we'd always be blasting music, our talent music and your music. Who is someone on the team that you are giving aux to willingly? Because I know you're usually the one on aux. So you got to hand over your duties of aux. And who's someone that you're like, absolutely not, I'm not letting you anywhere near the music playlist, like at all. Like you're not having it.
Someone that I would give the aux to is Erin Day. She has this playlist that's called Boys Town with a Z. And it's like bars in Chicago, because that's where she's from. Right. I guess she always gets aux when they go out. And it's a pretty good playlist. It has anything from Pitbull to Chapel Roan, you know?
Duh.
And it's pretty good. Still. Yep. And so I would definitely give it to her. Someone that I would like veto the aux is literally any of the freshmen. I swear to God, like I would, because obviously I would be aux in the locker room and on game day because my locker was right next to the speaker system. But any time that I wasn't there early, the freshmen would like try and get on it, and they would just play the most like not the vibe. Like
young people, hood music.
No, and they always wanted, oh my gosh, what's the song? It's like...
if you can sing it for us, that'd be great.
It's like the Slut Me Out Part 2 song.
Maybe don't sing that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to sing it. But they would always be like, oh my God, can you play it? And I'm like, guys, you realize the door is like halfway cracked anyway, so coach is already hearing like what we're playing. So maybe we'll just like...
Maybe we'll not.
Maybe we'll just like not play that one right now. But yeah, probably any of them.
Honestly, valid is young people music. That's just not it.
Yeah, we're just more of like a Pitbull, T-Pain.
Yeah.
The occasional, usually like Saturday morning practices was country before, like slow, because you know, still waking up.
Yeah, it's Saturday morning. It's not ideal. Well, Elinor, our career at Northern comes to an end. Well, yours does. I'm still here.
Mine. Mine does.
I'm still here. You're leaving me here behind. But from all the homies, appreciate it, and best of luck with your future.
I'll see ya.
Yeah.
I'll be back. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. We are on to our next sport, women's volleyball. Vic Persha, the NSU, I guess you tied the record for most blocks.
Yeah.
That's fine. Your name's on the record board.
We'll take it. I'll take it.
We'll take it. Vic's in the studio with us. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. We just saw you guys. We had a photo shoot.
Yeah.
So we saw you guys there. We were there. It was kind of a whole shebang. There's a lot of people there, and, football guys are throwing fits because we don't got pads, and as usual, But anyways, how are finals going? How are we feeling closing out the semester?
My finals have gone really well. I haven't had any in-person, like, exams or anything. It's literally just been, like, videos.
That's
you
nice.
go there and watch a video. That's it.
Sweet.
So it's so easy this year, which I'm so thankful for.
That is pretty nice, especially like because you're a junior now, right? So you're going into senior year, especially like when you get to junior, senior years, it gets really less.
Yeah.
Whereas freshman year, you got to prepare for that Art Marmestein final. And
Oh my gosh.
Oh, love Art and love everything that he does for Western civilization. That is just a tough class.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty
Did you not
tough.
take it?
No, I haven't taken it. I don't think I have to. It's not required for my major.
It was like a gen ed for me. I had to take it.
Oh, I
had
didn't
no
have
choice.
to.
It was, quick story, it was 8 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Yeah, and it was all of us football players were in it, and man, that was tough.
You had me at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
I stopped taking 8 a.m.s.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we'll go ahead and we'll get into this. Just a quick little preview of this last year. What was kind of your guys' favorite match, I guess? I don't know, what is it, match game?
Yeah, match.
Match.
Definitely at Wayne. That game was just electric. The crowd was insane. We were so hyped for that game. I think we were down 2 sets.
Yeah, you guys were.
To none. And we were like, okay, guys, like, we can beat this team. And, like, 5th set, going into the 5th set, it was electric. Like, every point we were screaming, no matter what it was. And then we ended up winning. I think it off Nat's. It was either Nat or Hannah got a kill for the game. But it was electric, and I cried after that game. Like, I was so happy, so excited. So, yeah, it was a great game.
It was because we played against Wayne.
Yeah,
during
you
the
guys
day,
were there.
And I was like, dude, like, let's just stay. Like, let's just stay. And like, obviously, it's not practical. And,
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, I want to stay because, like, I remember 2 years ago now, Wayne played here.
Yeah,
And their
that
whole
game
football
was
team was here.
electric, yeah.
So we were all there. That game was electric. And I was like, dude, like, let's go. Like, let's go. And then, anyways, I was watching on my phone. I'm like, holy sh. I almost cussed myself out right here for a sec, but that's literally how intense it was. So I remember watching it on my phone, and my buddy JR, because he's from Hawaii, so he's a big volleyball player.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, like, what's going on? So, like, we were sitting there watching it, and everybody else was like, dude, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, that game was so much fun.
Yeah, those are always, I mean, playing intramural volleyball, I can attest, those final sets.
Oh, yeah, they get intense.
They get intense, very intense. What, maybe it doesn't have to be on the court, could be off the court, but what is kind of like the funniest or like just the most fun memory that you have, like with the girls on the team?
There was this one bus ride. I don't remember where we were going, but we were coming back, and it was like middle of the night. Everyone's trying to sleep, and like the emergency exit at the top of the bus like broke, and it's like coming undone. So we were like, guys, like, what are we doing? So we had like Reese Johnson get up from her seat and try and hold it, and then we had Brooke, the trainer, come back and hold it. She held it for the whole rest of the trip, and we were just videotaping her, like laughing. Everyone had a good time, and that was probably the funniest, was that bus ride. But I don't know, every moment with the team is like a family moment, and we all just bond together so well, and we're literally like a family. Like, we're like all sisters, and so every moment together is just really good.
I mean, we'll get to that part of it because Abby just had her wedding. What, Saturday?
Friday.
That's right, because we had day champion Saturday, and that was a rough morning for all of you guys.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But if you go back to the start of the season, knowing what you know now, like a blast from the past, you're going back in time, what would you tell the girls to kind of like prepare them without revealing, like, obviously, that's the rule, number one rule of time travel.
Yeah.
You can't reveal.
Yeah.
But what is something that you would tell them to prepare for the upcoming season?
I would definitely tell them, like, we have so much talent, and we're going to be good regardless. Like, obviously, we're going to have a little bit of slip-ups here and there, but, I mean, every team does. But just, like, keep our head on the swivel and not freak out a bunch. But overall, like, we're going to have a good season, and it's going to be a really good year for us.
Yeah, and it definitely was a really good year for you guys, so that was exciting.
Really good, yeah.
For you got one more, which brings us perfectly into our next question. What is something that you're really excited about for next year, and something that you can share with the fans that you guys are, like, excited about, stoked about for this upcoming year?
Well, so I actually have 2 years left. I'm taking a redshirt year, yeah. So I'll be back. But definitely,
it's huge.
I know, definitely next year. I'm just excited to be back with the girls, and I know we had a couple people leave, unfortunately, but I mean, it happens, and I'm glad that they're happy where they're at. But no, I'm excited to get back on the court with those girls and just feel the energy throughout walks during volleyball games, because that really, like, boosts me up. And especially, like, I'll have, like, little kids come up to me and, like, people at Target be like, oh, you played really good. And I was like, oh gosh, I didn't even know you were at the game.
Thanks.
Like, I know, it's insane the amount of people that, like, every sport gets here. And I just, like, love that feeling. So I'm excited to have that feeling back.
It's always, I don't know if you guys have the same experience, but like for us, like with little kids, especially after the game, they're always asking for autographs.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's amazing. At the Division II level, you don't get that anywhere else.
Right.
But you have kids coming in, like, or not coming into the locker room, they're standing outside the locker room, and they're like, hey, sign this, sign that, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, can I get gloves? Can I get cleats? I'm like, oh, yeah, like,
Yeah.
no, you can't, because these are like my only gloves that I
Yeah,
have.
right.
Like, we're on a budget
No,
here.
yeah.
But they were like, oh, that's all right, bro. Let me get your undershirt. I'm like, dude, what do you
I think
mean?
you'd want that.
You
Yeah.
know? And they're like, that's fine. Let me get your tape. I'm like,
That's insane.
my tape, bro. Like, this
Yeah.
is gross. Like,
Yeah, we've never had any, like, people really do that, but like we always host like club tournaments for like the younger girls,
Yeah.
and we have to host it, so we ref and stuff. And one of the girls came up to me and she was like, I saw you play during Minnesota, like you played really good. And I was like, oh, thank goodness I didn't play like really bad. But I was like, oh, she was like, you're so good. And I just like loved that, because I was like,
awesome.
I have younger siblings and like I know they look up to me, and so it's just like a big thing knowing that like the Aberdeen community is so big in sports and they all look up to you.
and it's cool because like we were in those shoes at one
Yeah,
point. We were
for
looking
sure.
up to people and be like, oh my gosh, like I want to be like them. I
Yeah.
want to play like them. And
Exactly.
To be in that
Yeah.
spot now. That's amazing.
It's insane.
Okay, last question, a fun team question because it's really applicable since Abby just had her wedding and I saw all the videos and stuff. It seemed like it was a great time. Who is someone on the team that you are trusting to plan your entire wedding for you? You're taking back seat and you're like, I'm giving you full reins. And then who is someone that you're like absolutely not because like either styles don't match up, they're just like unorganized as a person, they're gonna forget to invite your parents, like something along those lines.
So for the person I'd say is like hands down gonna plan it, I'd probably say Abby Brooks. She always has a bunch of creative ideas and like decorations that she would bring in, and I just think that she would be really good at planning that and taking control. Not to plan it, I'd say have Abby Meister. Well, Abby Shower now.
Abby Shower now.
But
correct ourselves. Come on.
But I would not have her just because she is all over the place sometimes, and like I love her to death, but like she's all over. Like yesterday she was like, I don't even know where my keys are, and I was like, you just had them in your hand. Like how did you lose your
Like,
keys?
did you check your pocket? Like,
Yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna get you an Apple AirTag so you know where your keys are. But I feel like every day she loses her keys or something, and so I feel like she'd forget the littlest detail that I was like, oh, I kind of want that. But
yeah. No, that makes sense, and because knowing Abby too, like I feel like she's very much like.
Oh, she's all over the place. It's go, go, go nonstop with her, which is great. That's how it works for her. But like for me, I'm like, oh, okay, I need to calm down.
For the libero too on the court.
Oh, that's
what
how
you
it
need.
is. Yeah.
That's what you need from a libero. Well, Vic, you got 2 more years left.
I do.
So this is exciting, but best of luck. Have a great summer, and thanks for coming in.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We're about to close this thing out. Thank you for an amazing episode. We're going to close it out. My co-host brought you out of retirement to come in and talk. Nile, thanks for coming in, man.
I appreciate it. It's been fun. I'm getting to sit back there and watch all these go through. It's been great, but you saved the best for last. And I think there's not a better way to end this than us two as co-hosts finishing this out.
That's what I'm thinking, and it'll be a little bit weird that we're not co-hosting and interviewing someone else.
It's like when you interviewed me and Nick on those chairs over there, how it was like, okay, this is weird. Like normally we're doing it together, but now you're interviewing me, so.
It's weird, for sure, and especially since, we've been doing the podcast for a year and a half now. Your full year. Yeah, year and a half. No, full year.
Year and a half, you've done it for 2.
I've done it for 2. Jeez, I don't even know. And so, like, obviously we get in, like, you're like, I don't even know how to put this mic on because I'm used to having
a microphone in my hand
in
or
your
like
hand or
up
like
top.
yeah. And so anyways, we'll kind of look at this year in review. You know, we'll talk a little bit about the baseball year this past year. You guys had finished out amazing, obviously. Great way to finish it out. But maybe it's one of those games at the end of the year. Maybe it was one of the games at the beginning of the year. But what was kind of like the favorite game that you remember from this past season?
Definitely Wayne State. Because one, Wayne State was 3rd in the conference, and that whole series in a nutshell. But the conditions were not favorable. They were favorable for the pitchers because there's like 20-mile-an-hour winds coming in. But how that game worked, and I talked about it on the podcast, was like every pitcher was literally throwing a gem, and every hitter could not get a hit. Because if you hit it in the air, it's too windy, it's going to come back in. Hit it on the ground, the grass wasn't cut, so the ball was going to stop. So literally we won a game, and there was 2 combined hits, which is unheard of in college baseball. The opposite's usually the case. So that and the vibes, just those 2 games that we won, and like even the game that we lost in extra innings. Our closer was going on the second game of a back-to-back. Like, literally went in there for his third inning of his second game of the day. Like, it was not, we shouldn't have won a game with how good they were compared to us, but we won 2 out of 3, and everything was like bunt, field, laugh. Because, like, somebody would make an error, somebody would do something stupid. The vibes, the memories, everything like that was super high, and that was definitely my favorite part of the season.
Yeah, that definitely is perfect, and it'll lead us right into our next question about being like, what is like the funniest or like the most fun memory? It doesn't have to be on the field. It doesn't have to be like at practice or anything. It could be off the field with the guys, like team bonding stuff. But like, what is like a funny story that you can remember from this past year?
So it's kind of a year-long story, and I don't remember when it started, but we had been kind of known as a team that does handstands all of a sudden. And it started with Garrett Glarigan, our bullpen catcher, and Xander Parr, who literally started doing handstands in front of our dugouts. We're like, rip a handstand, Lair, and he'd go out in the front of the dugout, like literally mid-game, and start ripping handstands.
Hey.
And so like it was a thing that we all did, and like we did it in our last series at Crookston, and the umps hated us because we brought the vibes, we brought the good times, and Crookston was again fighting for a playoff spot. We ended up winning the series there. And it was one of those things, is like the vibes were high and we literally were ripping handstands, doing whatever. So on the last day of the year, we made a goal as a team to rip 100 handstands. So we were ripping, I think we ripped like 40 or 50 during BP, like this is everyone, and like we're all getting hype, whatever. But then we get to the start of the game and the umpire tells our coaches that we can't rip any more handstands. So we were basically like, we couldn't rip any handstands. We couldn't leave the dugout. We couldn't have any fun, basically. So we were just, no fun. They want us to have no fun. Like,
of course, you're ripping
screaming, right? And this is like our last game of our lives too, or like for the seniors. And so I think that was definitely the best memories, because it stemmed from doing it outside the dugout, but then it translated to the hotel, translated to at Foss, it translated everywhere.
Thunder
and then it
Awards.
got Thunder Awards. Like, and so it was one of those things, like, we didn't win a lot of games, especially early on, but we were known as a team that had fun and ripped a lot of handstands. And I think looking back on it, like, it doesn't matter again about the wins and losses. It matters about the funny and good times. And every time we did that, it was like, you could see us, and we started playing better when we realized we had nothing to play for other than for each other, and it like let us play so freely and so loose. We had so much fun, and it was a good way to end the year.
Yeah, it definitely was an insane way to end the year. I'm gonna kind of close this, or not close it out, but we're gonna look at the last couple games. Okay, series win against Crookston, series lost to Augie. Augie's insane. Series win against Wayne, split against Minot, series win against Bemidji, split against SMSU. Series win against Duluth. Yeah. And then that was majority of the wins. So that's huge. Like when you're saying, like, we have nothing to play for. And like we were talking about it on the podcast too, where it's like, let's just go be bad guys. Like, let's go ruin people's seasons. Like, kind of have that like personal, like.
I agree.
Yeah. So it's dangerous. When teams are like that, it is very dangerous. And that was Wolves this year. But if you can go back to the start of the season, knowing what you know now, what would you tell the guys to kind of prepare them for the upcoming season?
Yeah, so I think what's cool, I don't know how many sports do this, but for us, when we have our final meeting before like literally the first weekend series, we have the seniors do some speeches, and it's basically an opportunity for seniors to say anything they want to kind of give for a piece of advice, any last words, kind of before you start your last season. And I thought I did a good job of it, but I really want to emphasize the fact, if I would tell my teammates, that it really does go by quick. Because I remember being a freshman walking in that first day and like, first, like, obviously it's an adjustment. It's going to be like the longest 4 years of school, all that stuff, but it really goes by fast. And then even my senior year, realizing how fast it went by, and then you're done, you get that last out, and you walk on the field, and you're like, I mean, you can play competitive baseball for as long as you want, but you're never going to play to the level that you're playing at anymore. And so I think for me, like, to go back and tell them, like, cherish every moment. You might want to stay home on a Saturday night and watch TV or watch whatever, where you should actually take that and go out and hang out with your friends. Because you can watch TV for the rest of your life, but you're never going to get the opportunity to go out and do what you want with your friends, or go even watch football with them, or do something where you can maximize that time. Because a lot of the guys that we just finished playing with, I don't know if I'll ever see again. It's a weird feeling to think, but try to maximize that time to help build those relationships. And I think looking back on it, that's my biggest piece of advice. And I think I did a good job of it, but I would have done a better job of preaching that, knowing what I know now.
Yeah, I think that's definitely huge, and especially like when you come in as a freshman, all the older guys are always like, it flies by, and you're like, dude, I got 5 years, like it's not gonna fly. Like, I got time.
And then you're that person.
And then you're that person. You're like, dude, I really should have. Like, yeah, it definitely is like one of those things that's like younger guys and athletes. If you're listening to this, like it really does fly by like really fast. So take advantage of everything that you can. Since your career is done, at least at this level, what is something that you're really going to miss about playing specifically at Northern?
100% is the relationships. I know like every sport says that, but I think it's really specific with baseball just because we're year-round sport and like we are cooped up till the springtime. But it's the relationships, and like I love baseball. I would have had a way greater chance of stopping or quitting if it wasn't for the relationships that you build with that. And again, you'll have some of those relationships for life, but just those funny memories and those moments, like it's something that, looking back on it, I'll miss playing baseball, but I'll miss going out with my friends or playing poker, whatever it is, like just playing cards, doing something with them to kind of enjoy that. And I think that's something that is really going to feel weird next year, not doing that or not going through the same grind with them.
You have to figure it out with the work buddies now, where it's going to be, hey, now we're moving on.
Yep.
We're going to be real adults.
Turning the page.
And moving into the workforce now. So
Yep.
I know for you got good plans ahead of you. You're going to student teach back in Arizona, and then history teacher because you're a history ed major, in case you guys didn't know.
In case you didn't know, if you've never listened to Behind the Pack, I am a history education major.
Yeah.
And real ones know what that is.
Yep, running joke. If you know IYK, YK. That's
Hey,
all I
you
got to
said
say.
it pretty fast.
Hey, it's, yeah. So anyways, you got a lot ahead of you, but we're going to finish this off. Fun team question, and we always ask people this question. I never ask you, and you never ask me. We're going to get into it. Who's someone on the team you're not letting date your younger sister or older sister, depending on who it is? And then who's someone that you are letting date your sister?
Very good point. It is funny because like when we did Behind the Pack, I was the one that mainly came up with the questions, and we've asked this question to so many people, but we've never asked each other this. For me, I have two people that I wouldn't, and it's Nick Bannell and Nick Ochoa. And those two guys I'm not letting date or go anywhere near.
Yeah.
I don't have a sister, but if I did, or a daughter, really good guys, as I think somebody was talking about, like they can be your James, that's what it was. Like. They can be your good friend, your buddy, but you're staying away. So those two for sure. And then who I would let date my sister? That's a really good question. I don't even know. I think Quentin Culbertson would be a good choice.
Yeah.
He's been in a very loyal, committed relationship for 4 or 5 years. I mean, truthfully, besides those two, anybody. You know, like if you just no, I'm just kidding. He would. Drew Burkholder would be one of those guys probably.
Yeah, that definitely is. That's For me, definitely not Frit, like Britt said earlier. Definitely not Colin Fritten. That's, if you know, you know. Who I am letting date my sister, I'd have to go with my roommate, White Block.
Yeah.
It's, I feel like that is, you know Block too. Like, I remember, Mira tells this story all the time, my girlfriend, where she was like, because she used to live in the same dorms as Wyatt on the same floor. And she was like, I remember I walk up and Wyatt's in the study room. I'm like, and she was like, hey, like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, like, I'm reading a book on a Friday night. Like, who does that? White Block. That's who does that. So, anyways, Nile, this is the end of the series. It brought you out of retirement.
Yeah.
For the last TV show.
It was a short retirement, people. It was like 5 days, but
if that. Like, well, when did we stop recording?
About a week ago.
Yeah.
About a week ago.
Hey.
It was fun. It was worth it.
You're so delusional. I've been here for
I know. I feel bad for you. I've just been
This is my idea anyway.
I was telling Paul back there, like, he's probably getting bored of asking the same questions over and over again.
But I feel like that's what people would want, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I think people would want that. So, anyways, Nile.
Pleasure as always. Thank you.
Pleasure, dude.
Ow.
Hello, everyone. We hope that you enjoyed that last segment with Sam and Nate Davis talking about a year in review, just from a whole administration standpoint and everything. I kind of want to do something a little bit different for this segment. We're going to bring in, as you can tell, there's a lot of stuff on the table. We're going to bring in one person from every sport from this past year, except for cross country, both men's and women's cross country and the men's and women's track and field, because currently they're competing at the NSIC Outdoor Championships out in Duluth. I don't think there's results up yet. I'm going to check real quick. No, they're still going on. So they're competing there, so we won't have any track and field or cross-country athletes on for this segment, but we're going to have 9 other ones. I'm going to run through the lineup, and this is in no particular order. From soccer, we're having Elinor Sayers. Volleyball, we're having Victoria Persha. Baseball is Nile Hesson. Softball, Avery Eagle. Wrestling, Tyson Lien. Women's basketball, Morgan Fiedler. Men's basketball, James Glenn. Football, Daniel Britt. And swim, Haley Osborne. So the whole thing, Maggie, as you can tell, I don't have no co-host. Maggie's not here. We're recording this on a Thursday. Most people are already gone for finals, so we really appreciate everyone coming in. And I kind of just wanted to bring everybody in, ask a couple questions, ask a couple fun questions, and just talk about the year as a whole and kind of get a little bit more into each team, and you can kind of see it in one whole episode. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into our first one, Mr. James Glenn.